Welcome to Connecting Communities, a collaboration between people in Syracuse, New York, Bloomfield, New Jersey, and Macondo, South Africa. Connecting Communities provides people on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean an opportunity to learn more about one another through conversation. And to see, despite the 8,000 miles between us, we're more alike than we are different. This podcast is supported by the John Ben Snow Memorial Trust. For more information, go to unkululeko.org/podcast. Let's go.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
I am Nosi from Inkululeko, and I'd like to welcome everyone from our different countries. Welcome to our podcast, guys. The topic that we'll be dwelling on today it says, how to not let outside influence impact our educational journey. I believe we are going to be sharing our experiences because we are talking about education, which is something we are part of. The impacts could either be negative or positive. Excuse me. So there's a lot that is included in that topic. So I'm not going to say it's our side to speak or your side. If you have any comment on this, you can just raise your hand and then we can start sharing our opinions.
So based on the topic that we have for today, my point of view was basically it's nothing much, but I have written something down for us. So it can be easy to get caught up in the drama and distractions of everyday life, but it's important to remember that your education is your priority. One way is to avoid being influenced by outside factors is to set boundaries. For example, if you have a friend who is always trying to get you to go out instead of studying, politely decline and remind them that your education is important to you. You can also set boundaries with social media by limiting your time screen or taking breaks from your devices. So I don't know if you guys have any comment on what I've just mentioned.
That COVID was really hard on a lot of us because we didn't get our freshman year of high school, and adjusting back to school after COVID. For me personally, it was really, really hard. I think just a lot of the anxiety of coming back to school and going to school with kids you didn't really know it because we didn't have a freshman year to get to know these kids. And I mean, the work itself wasn't hard, I don't think, in my experience, but I think just adjusting back to a school environment was really hard. And it took me a long time to properly get back to being an actual student.
Agreed. COVID really had a great impact, like a huge impact in our educational journey. I wanted to share a story with you. I think, okay, I am done with studying for now, but then back in my time, I think going to church was one of the most thing that distracted me a lot. Because there was a lot that we're doing in our church, like the outreaches in the communities, and also the stuff that we did in church. You know, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, just to disclose, and then we'd start church at 9 a.m. in the morning, and then we come out at 6 p.m. in the evening. So I just knew that on my Saturday, actually starting from Friday until the whole day Saturday, there was no books for me. And that had an impact on me because on Monday, if I'm writing a test, I'll be searched back. So bit of spirituality there, you know, had a great an impact in my education journey that I proved. Yeah.
Ms. Argus just listed off like a bunch of things like sports, plays, dance. I think right now I'm struggling. If you can tell I'm exhausted, I am. I didn't get home until 9:30 last night. I was at school the entire day. My school day was from 8 to 2 o'clock, but I had rehearsal for our musical this Friday until 9 o'clock. So we were doing dance after line, after song. So this week I have to be very, very intentional about when I'm doing my homework because I don't get home until 9, and by the time I get home, I'm already exhausted. So doing homework that late at night isn't very sustainable. So my lunch period today, I had a study hall today. It was just jam-packed of just doing as much work as I can, doing it in the car ride places. So I love the musical. I love my friends, and I'm super excited to perform later this week. But that definitely does take a negative impact on what work I'm getting done recently.
I believe that family also does have an impact on our educational journeys. So I could say that family matters. So I'll only like mention the negative part of it. So I could say that family matters can be a significant source of stress and distraction for students. But there are, however, strategies that can help to minimize the impact on our education. So I could firstly say we should try to set clear boundaries with our family members and make sure that they understand that our studies are a priority. This may mean basically establishing a dedicated study space where we can work uninterrupted, or setting a specific times where we are not available to talk and to like just chill with family. I could also say that it is important to prioritize self-care so that we can stay focused and motivated. I also believe that we shouldn't be afraid to ask for support or help from the school's counselors or other resources if we are struggling to balance, the family's life and studies.
Thank you so much, guys, for everyone who has pointed out their views. The other thing that I think has impact, she touched on something that is very significant in our lives here in South Africa. We have, I believe that we come from different backgrounds. We have different experiences. So when we're talking about families, I am working with kids, let me rather say students. So sometimes they do tell you like their personal, things that they experience at school. When you're asking, why didn't you do your work? What was the problem? Because you were at home. And then they would share, and you find it very distracting as for an adult, an adult myself. So what she has touched on in families, we are coming from merely disadvantaged families where we don't get support, and it's difficult for learners now to, do their next grades and everything to pass very well. So when she was mentioning the family distractions, yes, we are really facing a lot, especially the schools that are in the townships. So do we have anyone? Maybe you can even share your experiences, like what are you going through right now? Is there any distractions that you guys are facing or any impacts? One of you has mentioned the COVID, which is part of health. Someone has mentioned family distractions from home, and then we also have our society, or in the environments that we grow up in. It was just like enlightening some of the impacts that people do face.
I'd like to share like the distraction with the family. I'll like certain things that I'm studying right now. My mom doesn't seem to like want me to focus on. Like she wants me to focus on like what I'm studying, like biology, but like she doesn't like it when I try to study for other subjects such as like American Sign Language, because she doesn't think it's going to get me far. She wants me to be like a specific person or like study a specific thing, but she also likes to put like restrictions on things that I can and can't do or study. I remember I wanted to study music, but my mom didn't like that, so she took me out of music. And so it's a little bit hard to understand, but it's like she wants me to do what she couldn't do in a sense. And I know that like when I come late to class, it's hard to convince her to let me take the bus because she's just worried about losing me and my brother, like how she lost her other 4 kids.
I just finished my basketball season and now I'm doing flag football, but as far as basketball, it's the longest season. It's like 5 months long of just basketball, 6 days a week. And on top of that, going to work on the only day that I have outside of basketball, and even on Saturdays I go. So balancing it was a little bit hard, but Also, I was kind of glad that I didn't have my OCC classes for a lot of it, but I guess it kind of negatively impacted like my work and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like it positively affected my happiness. So I don't know, it's a weird balance. My grades weren't bad or nothing, but yeah, it was just more work and more time that I had to put into a lot of things. Especially when like we have to go an hour away for an away game. We're not getting home till like 10, 11 o'clock. So yeah.
Since it's the month of Ramadan, and like if you don't know, some Muslims are fasting, and so my mom and I are fasting, so we have to take shifts between who's gonna cook and who's going to clean after we cook. So after work, after school, after work, I have to come home and make sure that I still have enough energy after not. I know it just started, but like the rest of the month, I have to like make sure I get home, do my homework, and then cook or clean depending on the shift that we decided to do that day. So it is kind of hard to like. You have to just pull energy out of nothing when you are like tired. It's like
Okay, so like what I would say personally impacts me, my friends are kind of waiting for me, so like I gotta go to them, chill, and like talk a lot. So like with that time, I could have started like a lot of things. So like, and another thing that impacts me is procrastinating. I can say like I procrastinate a lot. I procrastinate a lot. I do saying I'll study, but then be on my phone, go to the socials, interact with people. But then I think I'm gonna have to try go hard on limiting myself on those because like I see that they're not gonna work, and like trying to tell my friends that this is my year, I need to study because I need to come out with good results at the end of the year. Yeah, I think that's what impacts my studies at the moment. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So adding on to the family matters thingy, growing up in a black household, I'd say, um, we as the girls are expected to do all the chores, take care of everybody, make sure to be the responsible, especially if you're like an older sister, you're expected to be responsible for everything that happens at home. So it really is like negatively impacting us because we do get tired of like having to do all those like house responsibilities and still having to like juggle our studies and our social lives as well because then you're making a people that great, but it doesn't it gets to our mental health. I'd say it does affect us in a way.
To the lady on my left, I wanted to ask, since you like have basketball like 6 times a week and then you only have that one specific day to like take a rest, how do you like cope with your house chores and like having to do all the other things? And like, do you actually like have friends or do you like also spend family time with them? Yeah, I can't imagine going through right now.
Well, I have basketball every day, but on the days that we don't have games, usually after practice, I hang with my friends, or usually I work earlier on the weekends, so after work. As far as Sunday, I mean, I think I procrastinate also, so I kind of procrastinate everything to that Sunday, but I feel like I work best under pressure, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I pull out my best work when I'm under that, like, strict deadline that's about to come up. I mean, it's hard as far as like the chores and stuff. I don't exactly have like a chore list or something like that. I mean, Sundays is the day where I try to like pick up my room and things like that. But as far as like washing dishes and stuff like that, I usually just do that like after I get home. Usually, game wise, I only have games like 2 to 3 times a week. So on those days, my mom comes to like every game, so she's not really cooking on those days. So there's not really much chores to get done, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Oh, you make perfectly sense because I also like probably go through the same in terms of I procrastinate also so much. I do, and you mentioned that you work your best when under pressure. That same goes for me. I always work under pressure and it does strain a bit on my physical body, But mentally, I think I'm actually coping with that. But I actually do relate so much to what you said. Thank you.
Um, for me, I think what impacts our studies is that the pressure of like growing up in black households whereby maybe nobody has graduated or nobody like is educated and like hence more income in the household. So like the pressure of like you gotta be the first person to graduate, you gotta be the first person to lift your home, you gotta be the first person like that kind of pressure. So like I think that kind of like impacts our study. Like we try to go hard and then end up having depression, anxiety, and that all like you under pressure of like I gotta be on my studies, and then you study hard, but then forget that your mental situation can also be damaged. I think that also goes with how it impacts our studies.
Adding on to what he said, I'm so sorry for my voice. I have fever. Adding on to what he said, best believe it also applies to me as well as on the side of having the pressure leading to anxiety and depression and all that. And thing is, when you get those, our families from outside in South Africa, they don't have much knowledge about depression and all that. So they would just think that we are kind of making it all up, or they they don't know on how hard it is, probably because of the fact that they didn't experience it back in the days, but now as the younger generation that we are now, we do experience it, of which they do not understand much probably about it. So it also impacts us because they don't normally offer much support, as they also think on the fact that we are kind of making it up or something.
The guy right there and the girl next to him, the girl behind him, I relate a lot to like the stuff you're talking about, especially like being a girl in a black household, because and like having to set the standard for the rest of your house, because I'm the oldest daughter now, and I'm going to college, so whether or not I want to live on campus and the choices I make now are going to affect my sisters in the future, and it's really scary and it puts a lot of pressure on me because if I don't make the right choices now, they're gonna follow. My parents aren't gonna like I have to like break like the pressure. I have to like show my parents that like I'm capable of like living on my own, like going to college by myself. And if I can't do that, they're not gonna let the rest of my sisters go, and then they're gonna have to do it themselves. And it's so much pressure. It's a really scary feeling because I love my sisters and I want the best for them. And it all comes down to what I do now and like the choices I make now, and it's this constant pressure.
I'm the oldest child, but I'm the second. And my parents don't usually come home until like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And my older sister is in college, so she usually comes 8 p.m. So like Miranda was saying, Ramadan, yesterday I had to be in the kitchen, cooking, doing all that, taking care of my siblings until like 10 p.m. So I couldn't even get my homework done in the night. I had to wake up early and do it. And then I didn't wake up early. So it was just like so much pressure, everything going on. It just ruined my whole day.
Going back to what somebody said about how sometimes the older generations don't like understand what we're going through. Most of my parents are pretty supportive. My mom studied social work and mental health in college, so she kind of understands a lot about anxiety and depression. But there's a different adult in my life the other day that I had mentioned that I was feeling really stressed and tired. And he like immediately responded with like, well, like, what's wrong? Like, you don't have to pay the bills. You don't have to go to work. Like, you're not doing anything that like should put so much stress on you. And I was like, okay, I understand I'm not paying the bills. Like, I also don't have a lot of chores at home this week just because my parents know I'm so busy with like school. But like, I am at school and then rehearsal, but like there is very little time that I've gotten to sleep, that I've gotten to like, honestly, it feels like just take a deep breath has been like rare recently. So like it definitely is impactful because immediately I wanted to be like, oh yeah, Katie, you should just suck it up and deal with it, which I think I do to some extent. But there's also like a level of like they just don't understand. So try not to like take it to heart too much. because you know what you're going through and you know what's hard for you. What's hard for somebody else might be different. So I think to combat that, I try and take in like the little things. Like if I'm in a car or a bus ride from one place to the other, I like to like turn on my headphones and just listen to music. And just like kind of take those little pockets of time that I get to just breathe and chill out to do something that I enjoy, whether it's like read a book or play a podcast or just listen to music. Even like if I'm eating dinner late at night and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just put on some music so then I can like kind of feel like a little bit better, or I'll take a nice shower to like calm down and relax a little bit. So I feel like it's just those little things that keep me going. Because if I didn't have those little things, I think at this point I would have collapsed already.
I would love to add to what actually another factor that actually impacts us, our educational journey. That would be our mindset and the way we are as a person. But like if you have a mindset that you know you have to work, but you don't work because somehow it just doesn't do anything. Your mind knows what to do, but you don't do anything. The way a person thinks or the way a person does things can also affect our journey. Like me, for example, I know I have to do this, but I don't because there's nothing in my mind that actually pushes me. It's like a pointless journey. It's like you have a ball that you know you have to hold, but you don't do anything with it because it feels pointless. So the mindset of a person is also affected one of the most dangerous and important ones that, in my opinion, of course, that affects a person's educational journey.
Add to the pressure things that we were talking about. I have only one sibling and my older brother. He kind of set the standard a little too high. So now my parents are like expecting me to reach that level of success. And I just don't believe that I'm capable of, because we don't have the same brain. Like just because we have the same DNA doesn't mean we're the same amount of intelligence. So I kind of am sad that I know I'm going to disappoint my parents because I just cannot do what he does.
You are so smart. You're going to do good.
You don't know him.
Okay, I don't, but I know you.
Yeah, no. It's the same way for my family. So my mom has 4 kids and I'm the last one. Her first child, her son, graduated college, he has renting out his own apartment, got his own pet, and he has like a $75,000 a year job. And he like, as I go through college and I can like, if I complain about one little thing, he'd be like, well, when I was in college, like my day, that's how he was writing papers with our fingernails or something. So the high standard, I really connect with that because he definitely had to help my mom raise us, but I also he don't see things through other people's eyes. He only see it through his personal stuff. Wow. So like my sister had became a teenage mom and she handed off her first baby to us. So me and my mom co-worked together to raise my niece up to the person she is. So I'm helping raise my niece like as I go through high school during COVID, and I gotta I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make my niece bottles, or like I'm burping her, like it all relied on me. And I'm like, you didn't have to do all of that. You just had to watch us after you came home from school. And it's like, I know you struggled and I acknowledge you struggle, but like we struggle in different ways and I need you to see that.
Yeah. I want to add on to that possibly. My experience has been a little bit different. I mean, my brother wasn't really the excelled one in the family. I only have one older brother, but I actually wrote my college essay on this. I feel like because he like, I'm not gonna say it was dumb or nothing, but like he obviously graduated high school and stuff like that, but my grades are like way higher than his. And like I feel like now because they see that, now they want like what he didn't do, if that makes sense. So I feel like I have the pressure to not like, I don't want to say fall down, but like not like to be better than what he was and what he is so far. And it's honestly so annoying because like I feel like you get like just anybody having a sibling, y'all get compared so often. Like no matter how old, like me and my brother are like 9 years apart and they compare us. But I just feel like now I have the pressure to go to college and to succeed and to like make more of my life. And it's a lot of pressure. Like my mom, like when my grades drop, she's on me, but it's like when it was my brother, you weren't like that. So I don't know. I just feel like lots of pressure, especially because my whole family thinks that out of like everybody in the family, I'm gonna be the one to like do the big things. And it's like if I don't do that, I would just like crash out. I would feel like terrible. So that's the pressure that I feel. And it's not, I feel like what's gonna keep me through that, like I know one of y'all was talking about mentality. I feel like I have like a never quit mentality. Like I've never really quit nothing in my life. And I feel like that is what's gonna carry me on to like not fall through. Yes.
Adding to what she said about comparing, I am currently facing the same situation right now at home. So I am being compared to my older cousin who's doing her first year here at Rhodes University. Now that I'm the only one doing matric at home, the pressure is on me on the fact that I have to go to Rhodes University. It is more like a need to them, not focusing on the fact that it's also kind of putting pressure on me because person that is easily distracted. So let's say I'm focusing, right? So if just anything distracts me, the whole thing falls off and I'm gonna have to blame myself because I was the one doing it. So now having it to crash is gonna also be the blame on me. And they don't easily understand on the fact that they can't compare me. I am not like her. Yes, I am capable of reaching her stage and I am doing that, but they can't put the pressure because if they continue doing that, I may relapse or anything else. So it's just like that. It's hard.
Yeah.
On my side, I think I want to go back to the question of how do we not let the things of the social life affect our education or whatever the question was in science. Yeah, our educational journey. I think there was someone who said to me, I need to keep the main thing. So I need to prioritize the most important parts of my life. And there are things that we set for ourselves, such as goals and whatever. So the goals you set for yourself, you need to be critical about them. And everything that does not go with your goal or does not lead you to your goal, you have to push it aside or just try to take a break from it. So there are many things that are depressing when you're in matric or when you're in school in general. So I think taking breaks after a long day really helps because I've recently started jogging and it's really been helping with handling my mental health and just refreshing my mind before I can go back to studying.
Just wanted to know, do we really have an ideal student?
An ideal.
An ideal.
An ideal, yes.
So
It's a question to everyone.
this one word has popped up in my head over and over again. I don't know if you guys have this phrase over there, but here in America we have something called an academic weapon.
Stop. Because
talk about that.
dang it, yeah, because that was my college essay, was defining academic weapon. Because that's what I've been called my entire life. Ever since in elementary, middle, like high school, ever since now, my family and some of my friends have referred to me as an academic weapon, which can be a bad thing or a good thing, because it depends on how you see prioritizing your academics. Because sometimes you could put your friends to the side, put your family to the side, your hobbies, everything that you want to do for your education. And that's kind of what I did in middle school and at the start of COVID. I was like, I'm just going to focus on my grades. I'm not going to do anything else.
just isolate myself and get the 100s. And my mental health was not good. That was a bad decision because I didn't talk to anybody. I had maybe one friend that I barely talked to. My family just saw me in my room all the time doing my work. So when COVID ended and I was able to do more media stuff, do more filming projects, more broadcasting experience, I brought my hobbies back in a way that was educational because I was in a media program. So I was like, well, filming is technically not a hobby anymore if I just count it as a grade. So I just kind of tried to group them together into one thing. An ideal student is not an academic weapon. You don't want your student to be throwing away everything they love just to get a 100 on a math exam. That's not what you want. You want to be able to cultivate experience for your career. You want to be able to get experience in what you want to do, talk to a lot of different professionals and try to see what avenue you want to take before you're like in your sophomore year of college and don't know what you want to do. You want to be able to make a path for yourself while also doing good in school. Because if you do good in school, you'll be able to set a path. You'll be able to be like, well, I have these grades, I can apply for this scholarship, go to this school, and be able to set yourself up that way. So yeah, why'd you think of academic weapon?
Well, because like we're talking about how like our family or our hobbies like might distract us from our schooling, but in reality, there should be a balance between our school and our hobbies because we need both to like feel good. Because if you're not feeling good, like if you're not doing things you enjoy, then you're just gonna hate school even more. But so like trying to think about that, I kept thinking of like academic weapon as somebody who like only does school and that's like all they ever know. They're just going for that top of the class, that like the tallest grade, and you can still get those grades.
This feels like a call out.
No, okay, listen to me. I'm saying that you can still get really good grades and still enjoy what you're doing outside of the classroom with your hobbies. You could still go out with your friends. It's just like, and I feel like that's something that's so hard to learn because you either think that like the stereotypical version of like you have like the stereotypical nerd who all he does is study in the library, and then you have like a party animal who like all they do is go out and hang out with friends, and you really need a good balance. And I think that really is, like you said, that's the ideal student, is somebody who can get good grades and still enjoy living their life
have fun.
and still be a teenager.
And I want to add on, I think getting that balance is very hard, especially this year for seniors, because we had the pressure of applying to colleges, making all your deadlines, getting your college essay perfect, doing all the Common App and school links and doing all that stuff while also trying to maintain your grades and like play your sports and hang out with your friends. It was a hard balance. But I would hope that we're all doing better with it because most of the deadlines for college have passed.
Oh, well, the college is over.
Yeah,
like application-wise.
I feel like personally for me, once I got done like all my college applications, I just immediately started to feel better because that was like the biggest pressure that I've had my whole entire senior year was just getting college right.
And I guess I brought up academic weapon is because I think people view that as the ideal student, that people think the ideal student is the one who gets straight A's, who's student of the month and has the biggest grades and is like the salutatorian or the valedictorian that like is that just clear academic person. But I think that was what I was trying to change the narrative. But the ideal student is good at academics, but is also involved in their community and enjoys their life. Hello. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, it's a joke. You're good.
Yeah, using student is like a very broad term, though. You gotta think because student also means being in a classroom, and if you're being annoying in a classroom, you're not being productive. You're not seen as a good student still, even if you get the 100s.
Yeah, you're annoying.
You can be a good student and not have the highest grades. Good student is just a broad term. You have to be a full package to be, if you want to say ideal, but nobody's really ideal. Everybody has their flaws. It's going to get pointed out. But as long as you're productive and you get your work done, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Me personally, academic wise, I'm so lazy. But I feel like I communicate well with people. I would say I have like good interpersonal skills. Like I work well with others and more effectively with others. So having being lazy academic wise and being able to just communicate with people and just mixing those two like really works for me. So yeah.
Working with people is so important because I feel like that's what our career programs are supposed to teach us. No matter which one you're in, you're supposed to be able to work with your classmates going towards your same career in multiple ways. Like every year you're in your career program, you're working somehow. Like especially with media, like doesn't matter if you're doing photography, broadcasting, filming, you're always in a group. You're always placed at the beginning of the year to work with somebody or a group of people to build that like connection.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's kind of like all the programs at our school. Like in culinary, most of the time when they cook, they're in groups, right?
Yeah.
And then in biotech, we all have like a lab partner or a lab group. And then automotive, I guarantee there's not that one person that like works on a car by themselves.
There's a group of people who work on that car.
And engineering, like I don't
Groups.
but
There's
yeah,
groups and
like
engineers.
literally everything, every program and everything, you have to work in a group at some point in it.
Yeah, which is really just good for also professionalism skills that I think we focus on a lot too. But like no matter what you go into, like even if like you're working at a fast food restaurant like McDonald's, like there's still a team of people making the food. Like in corporate jobs, you still have team meetings, like there's different departments and you are a team in that department. So just knowing how to work with people and those interpersonal skills are going to take you very far, no matter where you go. Because communication, like we're communicating right now, like this is communicating skills. You're going to need them no matter what.
Word.
Ideally, there's no ideal student to be. We do not have an ideal student. You know, you just need to balance what you are doing and how you're doing it. And it all goes back to your routine, how you do things, when, how, and what time. Creating a positive learning environment is essential for fostering our growth and engagement and also our success. So when students feel safe and supported and also motivated, they're more likely to thrive academically and also to develop love for their learning. So with those words, guys, this is the end of our podcast for today. Thank you so much for your time. And we are really enjoying communicating with you. Please know that. And we are not taking it for granted. We love you guys so much. And I can see that we are relaxing a bit now. Yeah, we are relaxing a bit. And until next time we meet again. Thank you so much. So bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, before you go, I'd like to say bye, a special goodbye to my new I would like to say, should I say friend or what? But to the basketball player that plays 6 times a week. I love you so much. I really do love you so much.
Bye.
Bye.